I love to ride trains in the US, which is not a statement that many of us make. However, for people who maybe don't have enough time or PTO and can't take a long distance train ride, I wanted to encourage more shorter-ish train travel by sharing 4 of my favorite train rides under 10 hours each way. Hi, for those who may be new here, my name is Sojourner, aka Sojournies, aka the Train Travel Queen. I'm a travel vlogger who loves train travel, whether I'm in the US or abroad, and I wanted to share my favorite Amtrak routes that I would say are intermediate because they are 10 hours or less. So if you are a beginner train traveler who wants less hours than that, add this video to your watch later right now. Click on this video to go to my Amtrak short train ride and go watch that one first, then come back to this one, okay? Okay, and it's also linked in the description box below. And as always with these videos, I have my handy dandy Notion that you can never actually see because of the reflection, but I plan all these videos and all my trips full of my tips and tricks for y'all in Notion to keep everything organized. So we're gonna start off with the first Amtrak ride. Also, it helps me remember all the names because Amtrak got some pretty unique names for their train rides, but the first one is the Silver Meteor from Orlando, Florida to Charleston, South Carolina. So this ride is 7 hours and 49 minutes one way. I did a remote work trip around the US in 2022, and this was actually the first train ride I took in the South. Charleston was my first stop after visiting family in Florida, and it was a pretty decent ride. I can't say it was the most scenic ride of the ones I've taken at all, especially once you've taken some of the West Coast routes, but it definitely got me from point A to point B. I was in coach during this ride, but they do have private rooms if you do want a room for a certain time frame. There was no business class on this train, but I did play around with the dates because I don't remember the exact price when I did it in 2022, and I believe I saw it for around $80 one way. Now I will say me and Charleston did not get along the first time I was there, though I did love learning about Gullah Geechee culture as a Black American, and also I loved Callie's hot little biscuits. Those were so good and my favorite thing to eat down there. I did have a racist encounter that did put a slight bad taste in my mouth when I was in Charleston, but I ended up going back the following year, not by train, but for the Black Food Truck Festival in North Charleston, and I loved it. So I definitely recommend visiting Charleston for that festival that normally happens in April or May of each year. Next up, we have the Amtrak Cascades, and I took this route from Portland, Oregon to Vancouver, Canada. I talk about this route all the time because of all the ones on this list, it is the most scenic. It is 7 hours and 50 minutes or so. I took this one in business class, so I had the nice big brown seats and a lot less people compared to coach. And I did actually vlog this one, so I will link it in the video or in the description box below if you are curious about what it's like to take this train across the border solo. And if you are in Chicago or Milwaukee or somewhere in the Midwest along the Empire Builder route, which is not a short train ride or even an intermediate train ride, it's a very long train ride, but I took the Amtrak Empire Builder from Milwaukee to Portland, was in Portland for a second, then went from Portland to Vancouver, Canada. So if you wanted to double up, you could do that, or you could take the Amtrak Coast Starlight from LA to Portland and just keep going up too. This train also stops in Seattle, so if you're based in Seattle, you're able to take this train as well. And I would say the most scenic part does start in Seattle as you go through Puget Sound. And I would say the price for this range, let me see, for business, it was $100 to $150 one way for a business class seat. And for me, I flew back home after taking this one because I had taken the Empire Builder and this one, so I was not taking 3 or 4 days to get back home after that. This train ride had some of my favorite views because you are so close to the water, or at least it seems like it, as you're gliding along Puget Sound during the sunset. It was absolutely gorgeous. Some of the best train views, I think, in the country. I would also say bring your passport because you are crossing the border. They check your passport on, I believe it's the Seattle stop, and they check it again as you go through customs right outside the train station. So you want to be prepared for that. I did not explore Vancouver in the same way I've explored some other places once I got off the train, so I must need to take this route again to go experience Vancouver life. And the third one on my list is the Amtrak Maple Leaf from New York City to Niagara Falls. This is the longest one on this route. It's 9 hours and 50 minutes. I took coach class on this trip, though I did try to take business class, but I waited too long, so I went during the 4th of July and all the tickets were bought up. So if you want to take this one in business class, you want to be proactive during major holidays. But it's $60 one way, and I did vlog this one as well, so I will link it in the description box below. I also kind of doubled up, so I took the train from New York City to Niagara Falls, was in Niagara Falls for a few days, then went to Toronto. So if you want to do kind of 2 train trips in one, the Toronto one is very, very short. I want to say it was under 2 hours, so it's a very quick way to kind of add another city to your trip. I honestly slept a lot on this train, but as you go through upstate New York, there are some really pretty places as you go along the Hudson and all that good stuff. But I would say I was more into my books and listening to music on this train ride compared to others, because there isn't just as much to see compared to other rides that I've done. So you want to bring things to do. I love a good word search too. Bring all the things so you can keep yourself busy for those 9 hours. You may also want to bring some snacks. If you are in coach, you do have access to the cafe car, but some folks love the cafe car food, some folks don't. So you might want to pack something for lunch, because there is no other way to really eat on the train outside of the cafe car. And compared to other train routes, I think it's really cool. This one ends in a very touristy hotspot like Niagara Falls. I went to the Canadian side, not the US side, and I had so much fun. It definitely was a bit more touristy than I think I was expecting, but I was able to go zip lining. I did a pasta making class. I went to the spa. I had a very kind of semi-luxurious relaxation week. I forgot when I did it. Trip here. I got a very expensive hotel. It was a Marriott Falls View hotel with an incredible view, and I do have a full guide I wrote out for this one that is also linked in the description box if you were interested in having a semi-luxurious Niagara Falls train trip. And the last ride I want to talk about is the Amtrak Borealis from Milwaukee to Minneapolis. Now this route does start in Chicago, so it's a bit longer if you do the full route, but from Milwaukee, according to my notes, it says that this ride is 5 hours and 50 minutes long. This is one of the few rides where I've actually taken fully round trip. Normally I take the train one way and I fly back the other way, because either the train ride back is too long, too expensive, or it just doesn't make sense for me to do instead of flying. But this one I did take the train in coach to Minneapolis, so I did have the coach experience, and then I took the train back in business class. So if you want to get the best of both worlds, if you're based in this area, I recommend this one. And I did vlog this trip as well, so you know all the links you're gonna need are going to be in the description box below. So just click that box once I am done yapping. But I did vlog my experience. You will also see that when I took this last June, there was not any air on the ride there, and I was not happy about that. It did get better as we got further away from Milwaukee, but that did happen, and I want to say it's not normal, but I was not a happy camper when I was sweating on Juneteenth last year, so keep that in mind. But I love a good Midwest train trip adventure. We don't have many that we can do round trip, so this is probably one of my favorite ones that I've done, just to have a full start to finish train trip experience. I got to eat at a bunch of Black-owned restaurants I found while I was there, and also if you want indigenous cuisine, one of the only restaurants in the US is Owamni. It is indigenous food. It is so good. I would go back just to eat there. So if you're more than one person, you might want to get a reservation, but I highly recommend going to Owamni if you end up taking this ride or you end up being in Minneapolis at any point. And that's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are trying to figure out if any of these routes are near you, you need to go to the Amtrak website. I do not know every single stop on every single train route, but you can find train routes near you at amtrak.com/routes. That's where I go in order to find what I need need. So I recommend going there. Once you can find even more routes than I have found to do train rides under 10 hours. And don't forget to get all the goodies in the description box, all the vlogs I mentioned, the guides I mentioned, and to get my free train travel checklist if you are planning your first Amtrak ride. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay curious, and I hope to see you on the rails someday soon. Bye.